Humanity has long sought to understand the nature of reality, to find a pattern or a principle that makes sense of the endless dance of existence. From this deep questioning, two profoundly influential ideas emerged from opposite ends of the ancient world, yin and yang from the east and Platonic dualism from the west. Both are attempts to grasp the fundamental structure of everything we experience, yet they offer starkly different maps of the territory. They are not merely abstract philosophies for scholars, they are living traditions that have shaped how millions of people perceive the world, their own selves, and their purpose within the grand scheme of things. These are two distinct paths to what we might call truth, one seeing unity in opposition, the other seeing a divide between the perfect and the flawed. The concept of yin and yang has its roots in ancient Chinese thought, woven into the fabric of Taoism and other philosophical schools over centuries. It doesn't propose a conflict but a dynamic cosmic dance. Yin represents the cool, dark, passive, and feminine, while yang represents the hot, bright, active, and masculine. But neither is superior, and neither can exist without the other. They are not enemies locked in a struggle for victory, but partners in a creative process. The deepest truth in this view is found in the harmonious interplay of these forces, in the constant flowing rhythm of their interaction. It is a philosophy of wholeness, where every shadow implies a light, and every peak suggests a valley. On the other hand, we have Platonic dualism, born from the mind of the great Athenian philosopher Plato. He looked at the world around him, the world of change, decay, and imperfection, and concluded it could not be the real thing. This tangible world, he argued, is merely a shadow, a flawed copy of a higher, eternal reality. This higher realm is the world of forms, a perfect, unchanging dimension where the true essence of things like justice, beauty, and even a simple chair exists. For Plato, reality is split in two, the inferior material world we perceive with our senses and the superior spiritual world of forms, which we can only grasp with our intellect and reason. This fundamental difference sets the stage for two very different journeys. The Eastern path of yin and yang invites us to find balance within the world as it is, to embrace its contradictions and see the underlying unity. It is a path of acceptance and integration. The Western path of Plato, however, urges us to look beyond this world, to transcend our physical existence and strive for a higher, purer state of being. It is a path of ascension and separation, of leaving the shadows behind to seek the true light. And so, from these ancient starting points, we are given two powerful, contrasting visions of how to navigate the complexities of life and pursue a deeper understanding. The metaphysical frameworks of yin-yang and Platonic dualism are like two different architectural blueprints for the universe. The Taoist vision, built on yin and yang, sees a single unified reality that is in constant, cyclical motion. There is no absolute good or bad, only a ceaseless balancing act. The universe is not a battlefield between light and darkness, but a tapestry woven from both threads. This perspective is fundamentally non-hierarchical. Yin is not less than yang, and the material world is not a mistake to be escaped. Instead, wisdom lies in recognizing their interdependence and finding the middle way, the point of equilibrium where both forces are honored and expressed. The goal is not to conquer one side but to harmonize with the whole flow. Plato's metaphysics, in stark contrast, erects a clear hierarchy. At the very top is the world of forms, the realm of pure, perfect, and eternal ideas. This is the source of all truth and reality. Far below it lies the material world, the physical realm we inhabit, which is seen as a dim, transient, and corrupt imitation of the forms. This creates a powerful dualism, a chasm between mind and matter, soul and body, the eternal and the temporary. The physical world is not a partner in a cosmic dance, but a prison for the soul, a distraction that clouds our perception of true reality. The entire purpose of a philosophical life for Plato is to escape the limitations of this lower world and ascend toward the higher. This difference in structure leads to profoundly different views on how we should live. In the yin-yang model, a well-lived life is one of balance and attunement. It means understanding when to be active, yang, and when to be receptive, yin, when to speak and when to be silent. It's about adapting to the natural cycles of life, much like a sailor adjusts the sails to the changing winds. There is no ultimate victory to be won, only a continuous process of adjustment and flow. Health, both physical and psychological, is seen as a state of equilibrium, where the complementary forces within us are in a state of dynamic harmony. Living wisely is to participate skillfully in this natural rhythm, For the Platonist, the good life is a struggle for purification and remembrance. The soul, which belongs to the world of forms, has forgotten its true home by being trapped in a physical body. The path to wisdom, therefore, involves turning away from the deceptive pleasures of the senses and the distractions of the material world. It is a rigorous intellectual and moral journey aimed at disciplining the body and liberating the mind. The goal is to use reason to recollect the perfect forms and in doing so, bring the soul closer to its divine origin. It is a life of striving upward, of climbing out of the cave of ignorance into the sunlight of absolute truth. When we consider the self or the soul, these two philosophies again guide us in opposite directions. In the Taoist tradition, the self is not a separate, isolated entity, but an integral part of the cosmic web. You are not a ghost in a machine, but a microcosm of the entire universe containing both yin and yang within you. The idea of a fixed, permanent why is seen as an illusion that creates tension and suffering. The path to enlightenment is not about perfecting a soul but about letting go of this rigid sense of self and realizing your connection to the Tao, the natural, spontaneous flow of everything. It is a process of unlearning, of becoming empty so that the universe can flow through you without obstruction. Plato's view of the soul is entirely different. For him, the soul is the true self, an immortal, rational essence that is temporarily imprisoned within a mortal, irrational body. The soul is pure and divine, originating from the world of forms, while the body is a source of corruption and desire that pulls the soul downward. The ethical life, therefore, is a battle for control, where the rational part of the soul must master the appetites and passions of the body. The self is not something to be dissolved into nature, but a precious entity to be rescued from it. The goal is to purify the soul so that after death, it may be freed from the cycle of reincarnation and return to its eternal home. The symbols that represent these two worldviews are incredibly telling. The yin-yang symbol, or taijitu, perfectly illustrates the core principles of Taoist thought. It is a circle, representing wholeness. Inside, the black and white shapes are not static, they swirl and flow into one another, showing their dynamic and cyclical nature. Crucially, within the black swirl is a white dot, and within the white swirl is a black dot. This signifies that nothing is absolute. Within darkness there is a seed of light, and within light a seed of darkness. It is a perfect visual metaphor for interdependence, harmony, and the unity of opposites. Plato's most famous symbol is the allegory of the cave. He asks us to imagine prisoners chained in a cave, able to see only shadows projected on a wall. They believe these shadows are reality. The philosopher is the one who breaks free, climbs out of the cave, and is at first blinded by the sunlight of the real world, the world of forms. This allegory powerfully illustrates his dualism. The cave is the material world of illusion, and the outside world is the higher realm of truth. The path to knowledge is a difficult, painful ascent from darkness to light, a journey of leaving the false world behind to grasp what is truly real. Even thousands of years after their conception, these ancient philosophies continue to shape our modern world in subtle and profound ways. The principles of yin and yang are foundational to traditional Chinese medicine, which views illness as an imbalance between these forces in the body. Treatments like acupuncture, herbal medicine, and qigong are all designed to restore this essential equilibrium. Beyond medicine, this idea of balance influences everything from martial arts and feng shui to modern approaches in psychology that emphasize integrating different aspects of the personality rather than suppressing them. The idea of finding harmony between work and rest, or between technology and nature, is a modern echo of this ancient wisdom. Platonic dualism has had an immeasurable impact on Western thought, particularly through its influence on Christian theology. The idea of an immortal soul separate from a sinful temporary body and a heaven that is our true home has clear parallels with Plato's philosophy. This separation of mind and matter also laid the groundwork for the scientific revolution, allowing for an objective study of the physical world as a machine-like system, separate from the subjective realm of the mind or spirit. In ethics, the pursuit of abstract ideals like justice and human rights can be seen as a continuation of Plato's belief in perfect, universal forms that we should strive to implement in our imperfect world. Can these two views, one of harmony and one of hierarchy, ever be reconciled? Perhaps not directly, as their fundamental assumptions about reality are at odds. One sees a unified flowing whole, while the other sees a sharp division between the ideal and the real. Attempting to merge them might dilute the power of both. However, this does not mean we cannot learn from each. They can exist as complementary perspectives, each offering a valuable lens through which to view different aspects of life. One teaches us to find peace and balance in the here and now, to accept the world's imperfections and see the beauty in its cyclical nature. Ultimately, both yin-yang and Platonic dualism offer timeless guidance on the human quest for meaning. From yin and yang, we learn the wisdom of acceptance, flexibility, and the interconnectedness of all things. It reminds us that strength can be found in yielding, and light can be found in darkness. From Plato, we learn the power of aspiration, the importance of reason, and the courage to question our perceived reality in search of a higher truth. Perhaps the wisest path is not to choose one over the other, but to walk with the insights of both, to strive for the ideal, as Plato urges, while remaining grounded in the harmonious balance of the present moment, as the Taoists teach.